All right, so right now we're going to take a look at my Dell Latitude 7480. It is a 14-inch Ultrabook, and it weighs about 3.6 pounds, so it's pretty, lightweight. It's not too heavy. This is a power brick. It's a typical Dell power brick, and this is going to be kind of a real review. And we'll start with one of the things is this has a matte finish, but it is a fingerprint magnet a little bit. That might be primarily because I've been eating chips and greasy items and things like that. But it does have a pretty slim form factor, as you can see here. We have a USB 3.0 port. We have a micro SD slot, card slot. Then we have an Ethernet port, which is kind of an interesting port because it kind of opens up to accept the Ethernet jack, which I don't really use. It does have some wear on the lid, as you can see. I got it from a guy that was there before. I don't really buy laptops new, but this one has a HDMI port, a USB-C, and two other USB 3.0 ports, and then also a smart card slot, which I don't really use. There's nothing on the back. And the other jack is a power jack. But it's a pretty typical setup. And one thing I will say I like about Dell notebooks that come out now is they have the power brick that you can plug in and it lights up. So as you can see, the power jack lights up when you plug it in. And this is really cool because it prevents you from like rolling over it if you have your laptop on a desk and you don't have it plugged in, which I do a lot of times. So you can find this thing in the dark and, plug it in. So that's pretty cool. I'll show you the bottom of the notebook here as well. It does have Windows 10, Latitude 7480. You got your little vents there, and you can remove the bottom to install like RAM and do different upgrades and things like that. Anyway, this is the computer open, and one thing I really love about this notebook is that it has a beautiful, beautiful display. So I have the brightness cut down because it was throwing the video off, but it is a 1080p display, and it is a matte or anti-glare display. And if you've ever had like an older computer, if you're old enough to have had one but prior to 2010, or if you had like a Lenovo with an anti-glare, do not let that deter you from getting that option on this computer or other Dells. This is an extremely sharp and vibrant screen. When I'm watching videos in 1080p on YouTube especially, they look really, really good. The colors are great. It doesn't look washed out or dull at all. So you don't have to have that glossy screen to have like a premium look, which this laptop does have. And then also, this is not a touch screen. You can get this computer with a touch screen. But for me, I bought it off of a guy, so I didn't specially order it. That's not a big deal because I don't really use it, as like a tablet. I think 14-inch computers and anything really above 12 or 13 inches too big. Even those are kind of too big to use, in a tablet form factor. But so that's not something I really look for. But it does have a backlit keyboard, and it's 2 stages. So you just tap it there, and it stays on. And the cool thing about this computer is that, like a lot of Dells, it will cut off if you're reading something on the screen and you're not touching the keyboard. It will not stay backlit for that time. And then when you go to retouch it, it'll come right back on. So the only complaint that I have about this whole setup here is that these buttons feel kind of loosey-goosey. And as you can see, I'm kind of like rubbing my finger over them. They're just cheap. I mean, the mouse pad, the trackpad is great. The keys are great. They're not as good as an IBM. The 3 computer brands that I really mess with are Dell, HP, and Lenovo. Lenovo has the best keyboard to me. And then, HP and Dell, it's kind of a toss-up between their different models. But anyway, the keyboard's great, but this is the one thing that kind of drives me crazy, and it makes me plug in an external mouse or use a Bluetooth mouse because of that. This computer does have an i5 processor, which is plenty fast enough. So it has a 7300U, which is, and it's a dual core, so it's plenty fast enough. The fan doesn't really come on this computer. It doesn't get hot. I typically do have a lot of windows open. It does not have a video card. So we'll go down the display, and as you can see, It has the Intel HD 620 graphics, which, you know, they're all right. I mean, you're not going to be gaming on this, but I just search the web, watch YouTube videos. I actually edit videos on my phone, so this is just like a take and go, sit in my lap on the couch, sit on the desk kind of laptop. And it's really lightweight. Like I said, it's under 4 pounds, so it is an Ultrabook. It's pretty slim. It does have a 512 SSD M.2 hard drive. And that's important because if you have a computer with an old school hard disk drive that spins, that's one of the first things I would upgrade. That makes this computer so fast. It can sleep, restart really quick. It boots right up. I'm not going to restart it because I have some things open. But it has 8 gigs of RAM. That's something I'll probably update right now. It's really not a big deal. Like I said, I don't do video editing or gaming or anything like that. I mean, the screen is great. It doesn't have too much play in it. It's pretty stout. It does have a webcam, which I don't use. So yeah, I'm running 10 Pro 64-bit, which that's another thing. Like if you're running, in my opinion, if you're running Home Edition, you're not going to see your system run as fast as it could. Oh yeah, and I forgot one last thing. One thing that is kind of a drawback with this notebook is the speakers. They are kind of soft. They don't get as loud as they could. You know, other 14-inch notebooks I've have had better speakers. The T460p had better speakers. Even that 11-inch Dell I feel like had better speakers than this computer. So it doesn't get loud, and then, you know, when you get over like 80%, it starts to, or if something has bass, it starts to kind of gargle. So that sucks. I mean, below that, the sound is clear. I just wish it was louder. It doesn't have a fingerprint scanner, which I don't mind at all, just because I've had so many laptops with Windows 10 with the fingerprint scanner, and it doesn't work. It used to be so convenient when you had Windows 7 with a fingerprint scanner, because you could set it up to where anytime you're trying to log into a website, you're trying to log into the computer, you know, you can just swipe your finger and it'll log you in. And I know you can do the Windows Hello here, and I don't know if you can set that up to work with websites, but it just seems easier to me. But, you know, with Google saving all your passwords in one place, all you have to do is log in really with that, and you're good to go. All right, and with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap everything up. I'd like to thank you all for watching. The one thing I did not mention is battery life. So this notebook gets 7+ hours of battery life, so it's pretty good still for being a couple years old. And yeah, like I said, overall, it is a very good system. Some other systems that I think are good are the Inspiron 13 and 15 lines, and I've showed you the Inspiron 17 in a different video. So you might check those out. They have glossy displays and touch screens and things like that. But I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.